what the fuck is up with 18 to 25-year-olds right now, you guys.
So clearly I'm not Gen Z, but they're the generation I worked with the most since going into the field of mental health in 2004. So here's my perspective as a mental health professional. 1. Gen Z is the first generation in a long time to grow up truly feeling like they're not safe. They're the first generation that couldn't escape bullying. Unlike previous generations, Gen Z came home from school and still had to deal with texts, tweets, DMs, snaps, all this intrusive messaging that didn't stop. They were exposed to 9/11 as kids. They grew up constantly hearing about mass violence at schools, concerts, clubs, malls. They witnessed politicians choosing money over their safety. Many of them started early adulthood at the beginning of a pandemic, where they watched vulnerable groups of people such as the elderly, disabled, immunocompromised, and the BIPOC community lose their lives in larger numbers because a worldwide pandemic was politicized. Gen Z witnessed many Americans, some of which were their own parents, fight for their right to endanger the lives of other people because a mask and a safe vaccine were just too much. And before even hitting adulthood, Gen Z is either experiencing themselves or watching people that they love have their basic human rights stripped away. All because another person's religion doesn't approve of their existence. Gen Z is the first generation to have incurred this much debt with little to no way out of it. They are the first generation to truly accept the idea of getting help and support with mental health services. And as a result, when they're able to express themselves in healthier and more positive ways, the older generations are calling them crybabies and too emotional. And when Gen Z expresses frustration, anger, sadness at what they are seeing going on around them, they are being told they are entitled and lazy. One of the most important factors is that because of the explosion of social media in their childhood, they grew up seeing all of the craziness that happens outside of their small bubble they grew up in. And they're the first generation to witness that since childhood. But here's the key difference. They grew up seeing it, but because they were children, they were unable to do anything about it or control it. And that's what causes issues. But they can control it now. They're mobilizing because they can now. They're not helpless anymore. And we as the older generations can do one of two things: help support them or get the fuck out of their way. Because they're coming whether we like it or not. That is why I admire them. That is why they have earned my respect. They refuse to continue to be victims. So that's what's going on with them. Now let me ask, are you going to support them or are you going to get out of their way?